Okay, I'm up here at Sugarloaf. It's May 8th. You can see where Southern Cal Edison has cut down a few trees and they obviously chipped some of the wood. Looks like they've hauled off. Maybe some of the wood was good for logging. So here they hauled the tree up and chipped up the wood. They went on up the hill. There's Alexander's place. Here's the gate to my place and my cabin. Now as we go down the hill, see I was up here April 14th, about 2.5 weeks ago. Today's May 8th. This path is new since April 14th, although I could see a crew was working up in this area when we were here on the April 14th. So there are power lines. I have a power line right here that goes to my cabin from down across, down through this gully. I came over here about 40 yards. There was a tree down here. You see that fresh cut tree? I think the danger here was not my power line. There's so many trees in the way. It wouldn't fall that way. And they cut another one, a little one down in here too. Okay, they dropped that one. That one they obviously dropped through here. Must have kind of pulled it out over there, perhaps. They didn't cut too many in here. There's other big dead trees. Like there's a big cedar right there in the background that probably should be cut. As you come through here, they definitely they took this tree. Looks like a fir. They'd put a ribbon around it. Guess they were afraid it would fall off that direction. There is a wire running through there about 30-40 yards away. Probably can't see it. It's just above that road. So they cut this tree. Maybe it wasn't that dead. You know, it was dead, but recently died. It was probably maybe good for logging. Well, this tree, they let it fall this way. And right here, I have a tree that's 30 years old, and it's a giant sequoia. 35 years old, this thing was planted. When my daughters were born, this tree was about 5-6 feet tall. We got pictures of my daughters when they were 5 years old, standing in front of these trees when they were about 10 feet tall. This tree's now about 15 feet high. The second giant sequoia we planted 35 years ago is a lot bigger. It's about 20 feet high already. It's good size. It's doing well at the base. It's about 10-inch diameter trunk. Not bad. The other one has more of about a 7-inch diameter trunk. This one's doing well. Another tree was here, another giant sequoia, and you can see the leaves. These are definitely giant sequoia leaves. Who knows, when this tree's a couple hundred years old, it may be 100 feet high and have a 4-foot trunk and be looking good. Now we had a third giant sequoia right here. It was right in this hole. And you can see giant sequoia fronds right there, right there. Those are all fronds or leaves from the giant sequoia. Here's some that are more dead. There's old dead ones on the ground too from giant sequoia. There's some right in here, giant sequoia leaves. Here's a little pile of giant sequoia leaves. And see, right there in that hole, we had a very nice 20-foot giant sequoia that was 35 years old. See, this tree fell. They let it fall right beside two of our giant sequoias, those first two trees you see, and it landed right on top of this one. It was right down there in that hole. So they destroyed a 35-year-old giant sequoia. That was unnecessary. They could have dropped that tree. There's some room up here to the right. Could have dropped it more up the hill there. They certainly poled it. They poled it right up here. Parts of it. They cut it into pieces. They pulled some more of it back that way, back up the hill. But they dropped that tree right on a giant sequoia. They didn't have to do that. They could have dropped that tree across the gully, down in there. Pulled it out on that road right there. Just irresponsibility. Okay, there's a dead fir tree. Power lines are over there where that person's walking. So potentially this tree could fall. Right beside it was a tree that had just died, a fir. That's the one the Southern California Edison crew decided to chop because it was still useful for, I suppose, logging. They hauled it away anyway. And of course they dropped it right there in the center are my two remaining giant sequoias. They dropped that tree just to the left, right through there, and took out my third giant sequoia. So they basically came in here and took the one tree that had value, didn't take the one just as dangerous to the power lines right beside it because it didn't have any value. So they took the tree that had logging value, dropped it, made kind of a road up here to haul that tree out on. They hauled it out up through here, and it looks like part of it they had to haul up through here. I've piled up some brush on this. I don't want to road through here anyway, but they made this they made these two roads that converge right here, and they hauled that one nice tree right up there. They hauled my giant sequoia tree up the hill here, up there at the top. They chipped up the brush from that tree they took down. I don't see where they went down in this gully. They went down here and they got that one tree right there in the middle. You know, they pulled it up. There's other dead trees in here that, I mean, I got my power line running right overhead through here. I mean, there's a dead tree right there. So who knows if another crew is going to come and get these dead trees out. Here's my power line. Here's another couple dead trees on either side of it. So here's a number for my particular power line, I guess. Marking it. That's a new tag. Anyway, they hauled what was a good tree up through here. Just one. My giant sequoia tree is now part of these wood chips. Sure, if I looked here hard enough, I would find giant sequoia fronds. Let's see, there's cedar down there, cedar leaves. Giant sequoia is a really unique leaf, of course. Here's some more cedar. There's the wood chips everywhere here. Looking for something that would be from my giant sequoia tree. There's plenty down there where they took the tree, of course. Plenty of stuff. Among these wood chips, oh, right here. Right there, baby. Right here. This is from my giant sequoia tree. They hauled it up the hill, chopped it up. Down below, as we've got a picture, they buried the trunk. Here's another obvious piece of giant sequoia branch just laying here. These wood chips right here are the remains of my giant sequoia tree. Right here. This is where they hauled it to destroy all evidence of them knocking it over. Just greed. They wanted a tree out of there that was dying that they could still log. They didn't cut the other dead trees. They got one good tree out of there, hauled it up, put it on a truck, took it away, hid all evidence of their misdeed of dropping it on my tree. Someone's got to pay for this. This is crazy. So last year, I noticed my largest giant sequoia had been chopped off, kind of buried in mulch, but there's the stump, a year old now, of my 10-inch, 30-year-old giant sequoia. Over here, I have one still alive, also 30 years old, a memorial tree as well. It almost got taken down. See this groove at the base, which wasn't there before. What happened was a tree was dropped right on the side of this one. And you'll notice the branches going up the trunk on the right side are almost shaved off. And you'll see on the ground here, a bunch of these branches are now dried up. And those are giant sequoia tree fronds. I'd put this caution tape, it's laying here. I'd hung this caution tape on this tree, you know, to point out a little better that this tree is a giant sequoia. So the one they chopped that took down that tree, well, this is the one, this first stump is the one that took down the giant sequoia last year. And they went ahead and cut this other one here. And it fell right to the right of that giant sequoia. You can barely see it now. But a third tree from up the hill here, trying to figure it out. Gee, I don't know. Maybe it's this one back in here. One of these obviously, they fell right towards me where I'm standing. And so, came right through here. And it took out my third giant sequoia. This was a slightly smaller one, also 30 years old. It's been cut off after the tree landed on it. I'm going to put my shoe beside it. You can see it's a little smaller, but you can count the rings. See if we can count these rings. You can't really quite see in the middle here, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. By that little speck of wood. 21, 22, 23, 24. 26, 27, 28, and I'm not sure if I got all the ones here in the middle. I counted 28 rings right there. That's about a 30-year-old giant sequoia, just like the single one I have standing. I had 3 of these a year ago in April that were very healthy. They're down here pretty close to this creek that's running right now. They grow very well. This is an excellent place to plant giant sequoias. And I got room here to plant several more if I could find some funds to buy me some good size ones that would transplant. You know, I'd like to plant 50 to 100 of them through here where all these trees have died and establish a giant sequoia grove. I had one already, and it was in honor of my wife's brother, Hans, who had passed away. And then, of course, my wife's parents, whose ashes are up here. These trees were in honor of them as well. These are memorial giant sequoias, these 3 trees. I've got one left. Looks like it's alive, but it's been cut off, half of it. You know, one side of it, it almost came down itself. I mean, if that one had gone too, it would have compounded the tragedy. But this is a tragedy that stupid loggers really must not know what they're doing. It looks like there's one that was chopped back here that may have fallen this way. That may be the one that shaved off. Yeah, it looks like this one. Can't see exactly now where it fell, but it looks like they made it fall straight up the hill. There's my giant sequoia, and it just shaved it off. Why they didn't let it fall over this way? Could have easily made it fall this way. This one shaved off my giant sequoia and of course dropped the one just beyond it. So I've got this stump right in here. I've got this one that almost got killed. And then right in line, these 3 were all in a line. Here's the 3rd one that most recently, within the last month or 2, hadn't been done in the fall, then all the snow came. This is the first time I've come up here. And this is May, 18th, something like that. Now this is what I see. Very disappointed, very sad. My wife is crying. She doesn't know, you know, she's thinking, what's the world coming to? Can't even grow a giant sequoia on your own property anymore. Well, we're gonna take care of this for her and the rest of her family, who's also quite disappointed.